This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brittany Folkers, and we begin with the crisis in Ukraine. As fighting continues, the Ukrainians have agreed to meet with a Russian delegation to try to negotiate an end to the conflict. The UN General Assembly will hold an emergency meeting tomorrow to discuss the crisis. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest from Washington.
In Ukraine, people in several cities have endured a fifth night of clashes with Russian troops. Citizens joining the military in trying to repel the invasion.
My people today like lions.
Earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his top military leaders to put the nation's nuclear deterrence forces on high alert, ratcheting up tensions between Russia and the Western nations supporting Ukraine's defense.
This is exactly the kind of manufactured threats that President Putin has been using.
The conflict spilling over to the UN Security Council.
It is extremely alarming that the Russian president has resorted today to open nuclear blackmail.
The Russian ambassador accusing Ukraine's allies of spreading lies, denying that his country is targeting civilians. The full General Assembly will hold a rare emergency session Monday.
Photographic and video evidence is mounting, and you will be held to account for your actions.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has agreed to send a delegation to negotiate with the Russians near his country's border with Belarus. Zelensky was pessimistic the meeting would end the conflict, but said he had to try. European allies bolstering Ukraine's defenses.
For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to a country that is under attack.
Around the world Sunday, more protests against the Russian invasion, even in several Russian cities where police arrested thousands. Humanitarian crisis in Eastern Europe growing as hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians try to escape across the border. As Russia becomes further isolated from the rest of the world, the State Department says Americans in Russia should consider leaving that country immediately. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
And you know, a large Ukrainian community lives right here in the Portland area. And tonight they are heartbroken. Our Galen Etlin joins us now after attending a special prayer vigil. Galen.
Yes, Brittany, it was a really tough experience. You could really feel the agonizing worry for Ukrainian Americans in that room. All they can do right now is watch what's unfolding in their homeland and pray something changes for the better.
Мир вам, дорогі брати та сестри.
Peace to you, dear brothers and sisters.
Hundreds gathered in Fairview Sunday.
Praying for peace, praying for spiritual support.
Pavel Andronachek with Ukrainian Bible Church says this event was planned before Russia's invasion of the country. So now
it means so much more than we even originally thought. Praying for the country where most of, if not all of our members are from.
And we all have one desire.
The service in two languages called for hope.
We would like to unite here tonight.
Then the room filled with chanting. Prayers to protect the loved ones thousands of miles away.
And for the redemption of our people.
Melancholy music filled the church's halls, bringing many members to tears, knowing of the loss and the hurt.
People are dying.
Руйнуються пожитки.
All of the possessions are being destroyed.
У тисячі і мільйонів людей страх на серці.
Thousands and millions of people, they have great fear in their hearts.
The church made a call to action, taking donations to send aid to Ukraine, knowing this pain.
Not even just sorrow, there's anguish in our hearts for what has been going on.
Is far from over. Ukrainian Bible Church is taking those donations online and by text message, and it says to include the note "Help for Ukraine" to make sure your money is going to the right place. We have that information linked for you on KGW.com.
Galen, thank you. An alleged armed robbery suspect is in custody following a close to 9-hour standoff with police in Tualatin. It started around 11:50 this morning. Officers from Sherwood were called to a gas station on reports of an active robbery. Witnesses say the suspect was carrying a gun. The suspect was followed to Romer's RV park in Tualatin, and police put up a perimeter around that park. A special unit from Washington County was called in to talk with the suspect. Then around 8:30 tonight, Sherwood police say the suspect was taken into custody without incident. Well, rainy weather continues into the work week, and that could make for a messy morning commute tomorrow. Joe Ranieri here with a preview. Hey, Joe.
Hey there, Brittany. Yeah, we're going to be seeing mild to heavy downpours moving in here in just the next couple of hours. There could be some standing water, maybe a little bit of some landslides too over the next couple of days in some of the prone areas, parts along Highway 26 and throughout the Coast Range. Currently, we are looking at temperatures in the mid-40s. Now, we're dry for the time being. Like I told you during our 5 o'clock hour earlier tonight, this would be about that window where we would be seeing some dry weather. It's short-lived because give it another couple of hours, we're going to be seeing some heavy downpours. Currently, we're looking at about 1/3 of an inch of rain. I don't expect to see this number to change between now and midnight, but these numbers are really going to be jumping up here in the next 24 hours. So here's a look at the satellite and radar. Starting to pick up some showers moving in over in Tillamook, and here, give another 15-20 minutes, we'll start to see some of those downpours move into the downtown Portland area. And then again, to your early morning hours and throughout much of the day, we're going to be seeing some moderate to heavy rain, thanks in part to this atmospheric river. It's coming out in the Pacific near the just north of the Hawaiian Islands. As it does, our temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer as well. We should be looking at temperatures right around the low 50s. Yeah, we're going to be close to 60 degrees heading into tomorrow. So here's a look at what you can expect to see for tomorrow. Like I said, heavy rain throughout the morning commute, and that heavy rain will continue into the afternoon. How much rain are we talking? Well, anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That's just here locally in the metro area. Some locations up at the high elevations throughout the Coast Range and the Cascades, they could be looking at 2 to 3 inches of rain. And along with the rain, we're also going to be seeing some very windy conditions with gusts up to 40 miles per hour here locally. Along the coast, it could be closer to 60 miles an hour. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we love the rain, but a lot to look out for tomorrow. All right, thanks, Joe. Turning to the pandemic now, this past week brought some encouraging news. Like much of the country, Oregon continues to see Omicron cases decline rapidly. Tim Gordon has both a local and national take on where we are in this pandemic.
It's not over by any stretch, but after a surge like no other, Omicron as we know it is fading fast. Dr. Cameron Webb is a senior policy advisor on the White House COVID response team.
I think Omicron, we saw really an unprecedented number of cases. It really dwarfed some of the earlier surges that we've had. And so I think we're glad to be on the downswing from that, really come down significantly.
KGW.com is tracking the latest Oregon COVID numbers. On Friday, the state reported 4 new deaths, with an average of 913 new cases per day over the past week. That weekly rolling average of cases is depicted on this timeline, where you can see how high we surged and how fast we're falling. And that is translating into good news for hospitals.
We had another good week of data come in. The reality is the hospitalizations fell 250 patients last week. This week, we saw another 260 patient drop.
OHSU's Dr. Peter Graven sees Oregon getting to 400 hospitalizations or less by March 12th. His forecasts are part of what the Oregon Health Authority looked to in deciding to move up the end of the indoor mask mandate from March 31st to March 19th. Dr. Webb gives Oregon credit for doing the right things to a pretty high level.
We do see that the vaccination rate in Oregon, for instance, is doing okay among adults. Nearly 78% of adults who are fully vaccinated, about nearly 87% who've had at least one shot. So again, that's great news.
Webb and other medical experts agree vaccinations are key, and it is not time to let up when it comes to booster shots and pediatric vaccinations. That, along with masking and other health safety measures, are a big part of where we are today, which is making progress and hopeful, but still wary.
What's heartening is that there's strong public health leadership and communication really all over the country that's trying to make sure we're messaging people exactly where we are, really being clear with people. This isn't saying that the pandemic is over.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Tenants who are behind in their rent payments because of the pandemic have one more day to pay what they owe. Oregon's eviction moratorium expired over the summer, but renters were given an extension until the end of February to pay any back rent from April 1st of 2020 through June 30th of last year. So that means landlords can start collecting rent again on Tuesday. Landlords can also begin the process of evicting their tenants. However, renters have until June before they're forced to leave because of Oregon's safe harbor law. Housing advocates are urging the state to help tenants more, while the Rental Housing Alliance of Oregon says landlords are feeling the pain.
We are urging the state to allocate additional funding for emergency rental assistance.
Really, there are still many, particularly small landlords, that are still out of pocket and unable to collect rent as they normally should.
As tomorrow's deadline draws nearer, anyone who needs aid is encouraged to apply for rental assistance.